Hi everybody, this is Miss Peachy from your WCA Marine Science class. A few people have asked me to do a video tutorial to explain more about your quarter project, so I will do this. However, keep in mind that I do want everybody to book an appointment with me. So you are going to go to I'll show you how to do that in just a minute actually. So first of all, let me explain a little bit about what you're doing for this quarter project and why you're doing the quarter project. Now, part of the new marine science curriculum is that you are required to do a science experiment that takes place over the course of the entire semester. With the science experiment, you would be researching and designing your own science project and conducting that research someplace in nature, collecting data, analyzing the data, and then coming up with a write-up on your project. So there's two components to it. The first one would be to research the thing that you are doing your experiment on. Say, for example, if you were doing your experiment on invasive species, you would be doing a research paper on invasive species. And then you would be designing an experiment where you would, like, for example, be looking for or counting invasive species in your own area, collecting data on that, and then writing up a lab report. It sounds like a fantastic idea, and I honestly am not opposed to it in any way, shape, or form, with the exception of the fact that there's absolutely no structure or scaffolding found in the unit. So if you go through the unit, it's not telling you any ideas for projects, it's not giving you where you can find the research, it's not giving you any instruction on how to do the research, how to collect the data, and it's not giving you any materials to use, which are oftentimes things that you need. That, coupled with the fact that we are really getting close to winter, some of us have already had snow this year, makes it more difficult for us to do projects that require a lot of outdoor work. So what I've done is just skipped these portions, Unit 2, Lesson 4, Unit 4, Lesson 3, and Unit 5, Lesson 3. So each of them are worth 15 points, a total of 45 points, and there are 3 different components to that portfolio. So rather than doing that, I have substituted a different portfolio with only 2 components, and you will have all the materials you need to complete them someplace at home. So all of this is found on my website, which I have clicked on here. And if you don't know how to get to my website, you will need to go to my message boards and find the link for my Google site. So it will take you to my Google site. When you get to the website, first of all, you're going to want to schedule a meeting with me if you haven't done so already. So you can book your appointment with me by clicking on You Can Book Me, and that will take you to my calendar. And anytime there's a green box, that means that's an open time slot for me. And you can go ahead and book that time. It's about a 10-minute appointment where I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your portfolio and what you plan on doing. Okay? And this is 5 points. So this actually is an additional 5 points for your portfolio grade for my class. So if you have not done this yet, you will have a 0 there. And so you will need to schedule this appointment to get that taken care of. A second part of what you need to do, I sent out an email with a link to a Google form. And that Google form is just a little bit of a survey finding out what you want to do for your portfolio. Essentially, it's allowing you to become, kind of giving you a little bit of a preview on what needs to be done for the portfolio and allowing me to see that you are actually looking things up and stuff before our meeting. So, I'm going to try to find this here on my drive. It's a form. 1 second, guys. Oh, here we go. So it's called Marine Science Survey. And I will put this link on my website as well so that you have access to it. But so far I've gotten 28 responses, so that's a good chunk of my class, but I have quite a few of you more that haven't done this. And you're just answering a couple of short questions with your name. And it's 5 points again towards your total portfolio grade for marine science. Okay. That being said, when you get to my website and you want to find out how to do the portfolios, you go on the Marine Science tab at the top of the screen, and you're going to see something that says Quarter Projects, and click here for project descriptions, which you will do. And there are 7 options for research projects. Remember, you are doing 2 in place of the 3 things you would need to do for your semester-long project. You're just doing 2 things. One is going to be due at the end of quarter 1, and one close to the end of quarter 2. So the first one, end of quarter 1, is November 2nd. And end of quarter 2, or close to that, is going to be January 4th. Okay? So not quite at the end of quarter 2, because you do have your finals coming up at the same time, and I don't want to overload you during your final exams. The first 3 portfolio options you have are researching a marine organism. Now that's a living thing, either a plant, an animal, a fungi, a protist, some sort of bacteria that lives in the ocean. Now, there are 3 things you can do with that. You can either do a research paper, a PowerPoint or poster presentation, or make a model and do a presentation. The first option is pretty straightforward, the paper. This is just going to give you the information, and you just have to answer these questions in your paper. It's talking about how long the paper needs to be, what type of font to use, types of spacing, those types of things, and including your works cited. Okay. Here's a rubric for your research paper. Note that it does say it's out of 100 points, but because I'm modifying this to fit the needs of our class in marine science, whatever score you get out of 100, I'm going to make sure that you get a scaled score out of 20. So this will be worth 20 points. If you don't want to do the research paper, you can do the poster presentation or the PowerPoint presentation. For the poster presentation, you are going to do a poster. And you can either send that poster into me through a white envelope. And I was telling another person you could take like 4 sheets of printer paper and kind of tape them together to make a poster if you want. Or if you have another type of medium you want to use, you can mail that in to me. Or you don't have to mail it at all. You can actually take a video of it, and that works as well. For the portfolio where you are doing the poster presentation, you're going to take a video of yourself with the poster, and you're doing a 3-minute oral presentation, again going through all of this information. Additionally, you will need to send me a bibliography, which would be in an email to me. Okay? If you don't feel comfortable in front of the camera, not all of us feels comfortable in front of the camera as Miss Peachy does, you will be able to talk behind the camera. Basically, you're just going to have the video camera pointed at your poster, and you're narrating from behind the camera. Again, sending me that bibliography in a separate email. Now, it's harder to send videos. They're too big to send through email. So you're going to need to upload it to a video hosting site, either YouTube, which works fantastically, Google Video, or you can come up with whatever web hosting site you want, whatever video hosting site you want to use. Just send me the link to that. And remember, even through YouTube, you can make those videos private and only accessible to me if you give me the link. If you're doing the PowerPoint presentation, instead of doing a poster, you're going to put all of your pictures and information into a PowerPoint. But I do need an audio component. So you can add an audio component, a narration of that PowerPoint, and that is how you would do the presentation. With the model, again, of an organism, you can make a model out of whatever you want. You can sew a stuffed animal. You could make a clay model. You could make something out of wood. You could make a metal sculpture. You could really be very creative with that, but you also need to have the presentation component, and you can do that the same way. You can either do a video of it where you're in front of the camera or behind the camera by giving me an oral presentation. Now, those 3 were on marine organisms. The other 4 options you have are on marine regions. These are places or areas in the ocean. They can be strictly marine regions, such as the open ocean, the benthic zone, bottom of the ocean, the trenches, hot spots, like ridges, marine ridges like the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the kelp forest, the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, there's so many different marine regions you can use. Or you can use a coastal region, such as, for example, the West Indies Islands or, the Galapagos Islands or something like that. Okay, so just pick some sort of marine region. The first example is you're going to make a brochure about your region. Now, with your brochure, you can either make an electronic version of the brochure, like through Microsoft Publisher, works really well to make brochures. I'm sure there might be other programs you can use, but I'm familiar with Microsoft Publisher. Or you can make it with paper, drawing, that kind of stuff. But again, all this information needs to be in there, and then you can send that to me through one of the white envelopes. If you do decide to send me something through a white envelope, please email me when that object is in the mail, so I'm looking for it, okay? The second option is to make a recipe booklet. You think that's kind of weird, but it is. You also have a PowerPoint presentation you can do. And you can do a recipe booklet, and the recipe booklet is, like, let's say you chose, for example, the Greek islands as your area. You would find 5 recipes that are native to the Greek islands, that are kind of specialties there, and focus on the ingredients, one in each dish, that comes from the ocean. And then you're going to kind of answer those questions that have to do with, where it comes from, how it's harvested, something about those organisms that you're eating in that dish, okay? There's the final possibility for a marine region is an environmental research portfolio. And for this, you're going to pick a region such, for example, as the coral reefs. Like, let's say you chose the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. And you're going to talk about it. Where is it? What's it like? Give the characteristics, the type of water temperature, pressure, salinity, density, animal and plant life, etc., etc. That's a fairly short, like 1 page, okay? And then you're going to find an environmental problem that's going on. And one example would be like coral bleaching in the Great Barrier Reef is an environmental problem. You're going to discuss what it is, and then you're going to find 10 articles on coral bleaching and attach those articles and little summaries of the articles. So, a few sentence summary of that article, and make sure, of course, bibliographies are included for all of your projects. Okay, so that kind of gives you an overall gist of all 7 projects. Again, you need to pick 2 from this, one being due at the beginning of November and one at the beginning of January. They are both worth 20 points each. So together they make up, roughly 40. So it's like 1.5. No, I'm sorry. It's like 2.5 portfolio grades is pretty much what it makes up. And then, of course, with the added component of meeting with me for 5 points and doing your Google form for 5 points, it makes up roughly 3 portfolio grades. Okay? So it's quite weighty as far as grades go. But hopefully it's a better alternative than having a very unstructured semester-long research project where you wouldn't really know what to do. So I'm hoping that it works out really well for you guys. If you have any more questions, let me know. And if you have not scheduled your appointment with me yet, please do so ASAP. Have a great day, everybody, and good luck.